You're here to learn about what books, papers, articles, journals, everything you need to read in order to prepare for PPE. But first, I'm going to tell you some things about myself. If you don't want to know any of that, you just want to skip to the important part, I'll put a timestamp on the video. Go right ahead. Hi guys, short interlude. If you want to know exactly which books and also get every single one of the PDFs for free instantly, just watch till the end of this video and I will tell you how. But my name is Chloe. I'm from Singapore/Indonesia, and this is basically my Oxford PPE series. I did get accepted to Oxford PPE, Hartford College, January 2018. I have since rejected the offer. I am now a rising sophomore in UChicago studying economics with specialization in data science and maybe double majoring in either political science or public policy. If you are here for UChicago content, I only have a couple of videos left, so please bear with me. I thank you so much for your constant support and your patience. I am a student at UChicago and I will be posting these videos. I have all of them, just stocked up, ready. I really want to get this Oxford PPE stuff out first, especially since I've been on like something of a roll. So right now, I literally have no idea what I look like on the screen. I can barely see the screen. Like, to show you how bad it is, I have a clock just like right beneath my phone, and I can't see what the time is. And we are right here. I will be wearing glasses for the remaining of this video. I think I look terrible in glasses, which is why I didn't want to start off the video scaring everyone off. Let's get on to the video. First, we're gonna go through the required readings, quote unquote, and then we're gonna go through what I read and also how I read it. So the timeline for Oxford looks like this. You submit an application on the UCAS by the 15th of October, and then you get your notification for an interview around mid-November-ish. You go to your actual interview, or you do it on Skype around early December. So you mainly need to start reading these things either one, before your UCAS essay, so like if you just naturally stumbled upon these readings and just wanted to read this to see if you were suitable for PPE. Or two, if you're like me, you kind of just wrote about some stuff that you like personally liked or like you thought was really good, and so you read up on it, you read parts of it, and you wrote it into your personal statement. And now you got an interview, and now you actually have to go read it and prepare for the rest of the interview, right? So that was in my state. I had around a month-ish, and so I read around 7 to 8 books in that time period, like not counting the books that I had to like brush up on, the ones that I like read in my UCAS personal statement. By the way, if you don't know what my UCAS personal statement looks like yet, you should totally go check it out. There are required readings on the website. I'm telling you right now that they are not. They are not required. There are really good readings for you to kind of get a sense of whether this PPE major is really suitable for you. If you hate this kind of reading, don't apply. But if you really enjoy it, you think it's interesting, then it's probably a good sign that you are. The required readings include Think, A Compelling Introduction to Philosophy. We have Conscience of a Liberal by Paul Krugman, Freakonomics, which is by Stephen Levitt, who teaches at UChicago, is from UChicago. An Introduction to Political Philosophy by Jonathan Wolff. The Economic Naturalist by Robert H. Frank. I would say pick a couple, browse through them. If they're not really your style, you don't have to read them. If you watch my Oxford interview experience and even watch each of my like subject breakdowns, they don't ask you about concepts in those books. If you read articles, you read journals, you'd have a genuine interest in these subjects, you don't have to read these books to succeed in the interview. If you want to know what questions they ask in the interview, you know where to go. Now let's move on to the books that I personally read for my UCAS. I have compiled a list of I think 5 UCAS PPE accepted statements that I just found in the student room. I will also link that down below in a Google Drive if you want to read what I read. And I noticed a pattern, right? All of these kids are from, like, first of all, they're all amazing. This guy got like accepted to Harvard or something. But they all had these couple of books that they all read. So at the time, I was like, oh my god, they're all geniuses, they all figured this out. But now looking back, it's probably because they all took the same A-level subject or something, and I don't, I took IB. And so these included The Leviathan by Thomas Hobbes, The Social Contract by Jean-Jacques Rousseau, On Liberty by John Stuart Mill, and I was also recommended this book by a alumni who is currently graduated from Oxford PPE, which is the What Does It All Mean by Thomas Nagel. So those are the things that I physically read. right? But there are also a couple of pieces that I just kind of read before this whole Oxford PPE thing, and that is because of IBTOK. And there were 3 things in particular. One was Logicomics, which is an amazing graphic novel, by the way. It's a massive, very delicately, beautifully illustrated graphic novel about the life of Bertrand Russell. Like, he meets, Wittgenstein, he meets Gogol, he meets all of these amazing like logicians and mathematicians. Inside Logicomics, I learned about Bertrand Russell, which is amazing. And then I went to go read just some of like excerpts of Bertrand Russell's writing. The second selection is Emerson's essays. This wasn't for TOK, this is for IB English Literature HL, which I took. And it was a collection of Emerson's essays, mainly Self-Reliance and The Transcendentalist. I didn't really talk about them. Actually, I used them as like contrast. I said I didn't really like his writing, and instead I preferred like Bertrand Russell's writing. Again, I have it all in my UCAS essay, but this is the materials that I read, right? And I also read Walden by Henry David Thoreau. This is also for English class, not for TOK. That was basically it. I will say that among the required readings, the ones I paid more attention to was Think by Simon Blackburn, Introduction to Political Philosophy just a little bit, and the main one was, I think I quoted something from The Economic Naturalist in one of my like interviews or networking sessions or something like that. Like you get a chance to meet with the professors, etc. And I think I might have like talked about a concept in there. But point being, it wasn't really important. I've also read Freakonomics before, by the way. The last point, I'm gonna put my computer down for extra emphasis. The last point I really want to stress is that when you're reading these essays and books and journals, don't be stupid. Don't go and read every single word from the first page to the last page, and after you're done, you sit there in a massive book hangover and think, wow, I'm gonna get into PPE. For sure, I put in so much time. Time doesn't equals result, guys. You gotta work smart, not hard. Absolutely. So if you don't have the time, go read the intro, go read the conclusion, select a couple chapters that you're interested in, tie it into your own interests, and then the rest of it, just look online, right? There are millions, literally, of essays, articles, analyses on every single one of these texts I just mentioned, right? So just go ahead, pick a couple, and study it. And the process of you studying and engaging with the text through the primary source, the secondary source, all of this is going to allow you to be able to talk about the text. Which, remember, your goal here is not to understand the texts so that, suddenly you are an expert on Rousseau. That is not the goal here, right? The goal is to know enough about the text that you internalize some of the core themes, core ideas, core ways the authors are thinking and writing, so you can then talk about them and apply them in your interviews, essays, everything, right? That's your ultimate goal here. I know some people will say that's a little bit too goal-oriented. You just want to enjoy these books. I'm assuming you're on a time crunch here. If you're not on a time crunch, which some of this I really wasn't, I read The Leviathan in such a hurry, and then I read it again slowly, which was a mistake because I read it again for UChicago. But the point is that you have time to enjoy these books later or earlier. Just right now, it's currently, I don't have a watch on me, I don't know what I'm doing, but it's August 15th. You have 2 months exactly until you have to hand in your UCAS essay. That's a decent amount of time. You're pretty much good. I started thinking about my UCAS essay a week and a half before the deadline because I was so busy thinking about my American applications and putting together a college list. Point being is that right now is about the time where if you want to actually enjoy your readings and take notes and bask in their glorious language and diction, now is about the time to do it. If you wait another month and say early September, you may not have the time to do that, and you're gonna have to resort to, cram studying like I did when I literally read 400 pages a day of dense material that I had to just digest, right? And honestly, at the end of it, all I can say is that a lot of the material wasn't directly tested, but it gave me a lot of confidence. And that is super important when it comes to the interviews, the essays, because it really shows. Confidence shows. And honestly, at the end, all of this knowledge depends on what you say, depends on the 20 minutes in the room. So be confident, read, utilize, and you'll be fine. So I actually finished wrapping up and everything, which is just taking my phone off the shelf. And then I realized I didn't tell you how to get the PDFs. It's actually very simple. Just go down to my description and you see there'll be a Google Drive there, a Google Drive link. Just click into it and there'll be a list of files. All of these files should match up to the descriptions I've given in the YouTube video. And if you're feeling generous, you're feeling really happy or thankful if it has helped you in any way, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel, follow my Instagram, share this video with all of your Oxford aspiring, PPE aspiring friends, and I would really appreciate it. I put in a decent amount of work into this channel. I will continue putting in more. Alright, I'll see you guys really soon with my next video, which I'm really deciding between should I do a why I chose Oxford over Cambridge or how do you improve the TSA like writing portion, because I have like a TSA video but not the writing portion on my channel. So comment down below which one you would rather see and I will shoot that one. Bye!